So yesterday I did a video about love spells and what I consider to be appropriate or inappropriate. Again, forcing a specific individual to love you is not good to do. The right people will love you and the wrong ones won't. And that's supposed to be how you tell the difference. Unfortunately, in this world, even false ones will pretend to love you if they want to gain something from you. I guess that can look different depending on who you are, but inevitably it's the same thing. It's the difference between somebody with good intention, no intention, or bad intention. I've always been someone who went through life with good intention or no intention, so it hasn't always been easy for me to see the bad intentioned or cruel intentioned people until it's too late for me. But that's on them in the end, not on me. So similarly to what I believe about doing love spells and not to do them, to only do what I described yesterday, which is life-made love spells to attract the person meant for you. You're not imagining what they look like. And again, my teacher's class and book had one that was said to bring your love within 3 months. They contact you within 3 months. So, sorry, I just have to pop my spine back in where my ex broke it. No big deal. It's a quick adjustment. So people can do bad and negative magic on you, and people can gang up on you too. I can give you some examples of when people have tried to do that to me. I say tried because while they were successful for a time period, they did discover eventually that it was incredibly detrimental to them to do so. An example I can give is that a baby bruja sent me Papa Legbo in 2017, not knowing my ancestry is very varied. And I worked with Papa Legbo for a couple weeks after he was sent to me. He was sent to do damage. Baby bruja sent him to harm you, try to kill you. It's a threatening figure that was previously used against their will. So these are all forces and sources, like they're referred to as jinn or entities, magicians, spirits stuck in the liminal. They can be adhered to magical items and sacred artifacts, and people can try to make them do their will by doing bad magic, but now that can't be any longer because in fall of 2020 I set them all free. Everything on this earth is set free, all of them. So no one can do that anymore. That's why it should be easy to see what I refer to as web trap set. It should be very easy to see who's doing that. It can be seen by their fortune, their power, their status, their role in the world, and then how much suffering is going on. If someone says they're on top of the world and there's still mass suffering and chaos, they're not exactly doing right, are they? It should be easy to see. So, Papa Legbo was sent to me before I set his spirit and energy free by a baby bruja. Anyone who tries to do bad magic against me, I consider a baby magician, baby bruja, baby witch, because there's just some things you don't mess with, and I'm one of them. So I worked with Papa Legbo for a little while, caught up with him, so to speak, and then sent him back. So I'm sure whoever sent him to me ended up dealing with repercussions that they were not planning on. But they were the repercussions that they caused themselves by trying to take on me. Great song. Now, similarly, there was a whole bunch of people that ganged up on me. Some refer to them as the Illuminati, some refer to them as other things, but essentially it's a very powerful, quote-unquote, group of people who use bad magic and, again, artifacts and things like that to try to harness energy and power that doesn't belong to them. They've also done this with stone circles, using masons, and other situations, but I set all of that free in fall of 2020. Everything is free. So anyone claiming to do that after that time period is lying. They won't have power over anyone. They won't have power over artifacts, and they won't have power over sacred sites, stone circles, or anything else, because I set them all free in fall of 2020. So they all ganged up on me. They were not just in my own country, some from India and some from Thailand and some from where I am now. A bunch of people that were offered sums of money in exchange for their dreams to come true, or a wish to come true, or something to happen that was good for them, without thinking about the repercussions it would have on them and their families, because these beings ask in exchange that is very serious, usually the soul of a family member that you have, or to cause great harm to another. It's essentially like making a deal with a devil energy, tethering you to the earth that is web trap, sin, and evil. Many people in superstardom will do it if they don't understand. Maybe they're young and they don't understand what they're getting into, or maybe they don't care and they just want to be seen and heard and worshipped, and they don't care what it does to anybody else, least of all the person that they put through the most torment for it. So now all of that is changed. It should be easy to see. No longer can people web trap set by using that manipulative magic. But what I want to talk more about is what I know about. So you would have to communicate with people that speak out against the Illuminati, and with people who have joined without realizing what it does to them and their families and their life or the lives of others. But I want to focus more on ways for you as an individual to keep yourself safe and protected. There's all kinds of ways that you can do that. Connection to soul, to spirit, to God, to goddess, to great spirit, connection to ancestors, connection to the earth, connection to the heavens, imagining light around your force and form. In the morning when I wake up at 3 o'clock and I do prayer, one of the first things I do is take back my energy, cleared, cleansed, and realigned. And I do that with the intention of any energy or entity that entered into my energy field in the evening is now cleared and sent back, and my energy is only mine, so that everything I do during the day is in my own energy. You can also do it again at night, but usually I find that between meditation and my morning prayer, that's plenty for myself. I also have had a lot of experience in the world, in a lot of bad situations, and I've had a lot of people gang up on me and harm me. So, know thyself is obviously the most beneficial, which is why they make it first in every rule of divination, magic, discipline. It's the most important thing. And when you've been ganged up on a lot and put in horrific situations, knowing thyself is something that's very simple to do. So the other thing is you can go through, this is something I learned in my witchcraft class that I took from 2016 September until I got kicked out for bringing up Allah about 4 years in, although longer really, because we had 6 months in between each semester. So but one of the things I like to do that was recommended by that school, which I recommend, www.templeofwitchcraft.org. Christopher Penczak was my teacher. I respect and like him a lot and recommend his classes. It was a misunderstanding between me and a teacher assistant who had never met me before, so he was triggered by the reference to Allah given society's understanding of what Allah is. And without ever meeting me, it was hard for him to know what I was talking about, who I was. So it's all right. But it's when you go back and you go through situations where somebody could have taken your power, and then you can spiritually navigate this by astrally traveling. So you kind of go back in time and you imagine yourself in that moment. And you can use sacred sight, which means your psychic sight or your middle world vision, if you can perceive that. If you can't, just go back and imagine that you're covered in protection, so that if they're trying to take any energy from you, or they did in that moment, that you are protected and that it comes back to you cleared and cleansed, so that there's no disruption of your energy field, and that even if they took your power during that time period, it is then returned beyond space and time, knowing no space and time, because that's how Great Spirit power works. There's no space and time. So it's simple, and it doesn't need to be complicated. There doesn't need to be lots of questions that are founded in confusion about, but how can and why. It's literally just go do that. You'll see a difference. If you notice that somebody has some of your energy in doing that, and you're having trouble, you can always contact a healer that is stronger than you or more developed, because you have that strength within yourself. You just have to remember how to use it. So there's lots of different things that you can do. If you need a physical tool to help you, you can use a crystal, a rock, bone, stone, feather, a rattle, a drum. You can use really anything that you want, flowers, to try to navigate that and to try to dispel any negative energy that goes into your energy field in that time period, in that exchange. Because while having a good nature with no intention and good intention is the best weapon against any bad magic or negativity done to you, it doesn't mean you haven't experienced pain and trauma and hardship. It just means that you move forward. Many people assume I had an easy life because I was always what seemed like good-natured, but it was contrary. I've had a lot of really horrific things happen to me, to the point where I finally spoke up about them. No one wanted to hear it. It was too much for them to listen to. So I can only imagine that they wouldn't be able to withstand living through it like I had to. So despite being good-natured and having goodwill, having no intention and good intention, you can be susceptible to bad magic. And when you're specifically powerful, a lot of people will gang up on you. There was a whole group of women that tried to take my heart center energy in the form of a green rope, and they tried to pull that out of me. I could feel it in the moment that it happened, and I didn't quite understand what happened until later. And then I had to work at taking that power back, cleared, cleansed, and realigned. So it's not taking power from someone else, it's your energy center of power. So you take your energy back. It was a whole group of women that did that, to try to use my energy and power. Again, because when you are from what's considered sacred bloodlines, or powerful beings, or you have powerful spirit, people like to covet that energy and use it for manipulative magic power and control, because, well, they're lazy. They don't want to put in the work like the rest of us did to connect with their ancestors and, you know, do the daily workings and effort that it takes to become strong and have your own power. They want to take others because they don't have the discipline to develop their own. So, You just take it back little by little. If I had done so sooner or recognized people's bad intent sooner, I would have been better off, because I could have worked at taking that back sooner, but I didn't realize it until a little bit too late. So you have to just do little by little. And another powerful thing I found is delegating things to God. So if you're angry that people are doing these things to you, and no matter what, you don't seem to be getting the help that you need to help yourself, like I was crippled and I couldn't just go about my life like I used to. I was crippled by a man, and I didn't have a choice as to what my body's doing anymore. It's now this way. So in anger, I started to delegate things to God and say, let it be, kun fayakun ashe. So you can do that as well, as a technique and a weapon against negative beings, psychic vampires, and spiritual robbers, because they, again, they're lazy. They don't want to put in the discipline it takes to be in their own power, so they try to take others. It never occurred to me in my life to take others' powers, or to want others' powers, or to want to be anyone else. I was myself, and I only ever wanted to be myself. And I never wanted what others had. I only wanted what I wanted for my path forward. So it was always strange to me when people did that. If they wanted what you had, if they coveted who you were, if they wanted to be you, which again, an alarming person that was in my life in the past, an old neighbor who pretended to be like me long enough to be my friend because she told me she wanted to be me. This is scary things. She's 9 years older than me. I've never wanted to be anyone but myself. So it's really important to know yourself, to not want to be anybody but you, and to be conscious of the fact that not everyone is going to be that way. So protect yourself. If you connect to God and you are part of a religion, I'm sure that there are techniques that whatever group you're a part of can help you with. Sufi groups have many different things that you can do to help dispel negative magic or manipulative magic, or do away with negative things. There's many techniques that they have. So, with a Sufi group, you would have a mentor, a Sufi mentor, and a sheikh that you can connect with and ask questions like that too. If you're part of a witchcraft group that is, aware of the negative effects of manipulative magic, you can ask them questions. If you're a shaman, you can usually travel to your underworld, your middle world, and your above world and find out what's going on, because your guides will point you in the direction that you need to be. Sitting in stillness and just going through your life and trying to see where it's coming from can be beneficial and helpful. And again, when there are really dangerous people that, have sacred artifacts that they can use to try to manipulate you with, that's scary. That's why it's also important when you're given an artifact or a gift, like a woman gave me a blade in Athame. You have to make sure you cleanse and consecrate it of any energy so that no negative energy can be stuck on it and then go to you. But also your intention will help a lot. If you have pure intention, oftentimes when you touch artifacts and things like that, it won't affect you negatively because you have that conscious understanding inside of you of good nature. No intention, good intention. Doesn't mean you have to walk around being a do-gooder all the time. It just means no intention or good intention, which is what I always went through my life with. That's why it's beneficial to understand that if somebody does something like a love spell on you, if you find yourself captivated by someone and you, they don't care about you, right? They don't return your affection. They don't care about you. There's no connection from them in like this earthly realm. So that's when you can look at things like distraction magic or bad magic. I'm not saying that every person that you're drawn to that isn't drawn to you is doing a love spell against you. But it's beneficial to keep in mind that people do very weird things for their own benefit and gain. So, what I like to do in regards to love, so to gear a little bit away from the foundation of how people can use bad magic against you and ways to protect. And again, if you have any questions, you can email me. My website is connected to my email. It's www.triplegoddessarts.com, where you can comment. My YouTube page, which is like some random address. I'm not even sure exactly what my YouTube page is. It's like my name and then 899, I think. I have no clue why that is, but whatever. I'm going to go with that. So, what I always say is recalibrate until it's real. And what that means is if you feel connected to someone and they're not connected to you, they don't care about you or your well being or your safety or your heart or your spirituality or you at all, you recalibrate. Kind of like a compass can recalibrate its direction. So if you find yourself consistently drawn to that person, but there's nothing there and it's not real love, because real love is reciprocal. So it's really important to know that no one who actually is meant for you is going to make you feel awful about who you are. No person that's meant for you is going to want you to suffer or be in harm's way or be sad or be in danger. No one that loves you would want that for you. So it's not real love. So you recalibrate. You imagine that your heart is like a compass and it's going to recalibrate to you, to God, to the universe, to whatever you enjoy and love, until it can actually allow itself to let go of whatever connection, conscious or otherwise, if it's manipulative magic on behalf of someone else or anything like that, you recalibrate. So you just allow yourself the space and energy to feel your feelings. Don't go out and find someone to distract you. Don't don't try to erase that person from your thoughts and emotions. Just let yourself feel what you feel until it's gone. And then once it's gone, you never have to worry about it again. You recalibrate. So it's like you go through the emotions and you go through the process and you go through the feelings so that no matter what happens, you let it fully go because you felt everything. You recalibrate until it's real love. Because on earth, the person that's meant to be with you will never make you feel that way. They will never, wow, that person. My upstairs neighbors. I want to make them a tincture, but I don't have all of my proper medicines with me and also have no clue who they are or anything about them. So, hopefully they heal or whatever. Anyway, essentially, the person that's meant for you on the earth is never going to want to see you suffer. They're never going to want to see you in pain or torment or sad. They're not going to want you to be a fool for them. Like, they're not going to want you to look foolish because you care about them and you're loyal to them and your heart is there for them. The right person will reciprocate. They'll be available to you. They'll be ready for you. And they'll also feel the same about you. That's the beneficial thing. It's like it will be mutual. So if it isn't mutual, it's the best way to know that it's not for you. But it also doesn't mean that you can just let it go, because if you have real emotion for someone, it's not so simple as just saying, I don't care anymore, because if it was, then it wouldn't actually be love. Loving people enough to want them to be happy is the best kind of love, because it's the kind that allows you to let go of someone the most. Because you say, oh, okay, I love you enough to let you go and to let you be happy and be with who you need to be with. And that's the most important, because then when you let them go, nothing nothing will make you question your decision. Because if that person was meant for you, they would have been ready for you when you had those emotions for them. And then you recalibrate. And, I've had these visions in the past that some people could be negatively affected by this. I've known my whole life that different decisions can cause for different outcomes. When you have psychic dreams that happen, it can be a little destabilizing at first when you're young. This happened to me from a really early age, and I didn't talk about it because I didn't grow up in a household where it was common to discuss these things. So I would have dreams and they would happen. And it could be alarming, and for a time period I thought that it meant I was on the right direction, that if I was dreaming and they were happening, that it was good. But then I realized also that if you make different decisions in life, that your path can lead in different directions, and that the outcome can change. So not all of the dreams that you have that are premonition dreams could come to fruition. I always make up words. Not all of them are going to be manifest in this world. And essentially, it's like when you get a tarot reading or an astrology reading, and that reading can change how you go about your life depending on what you received as benefit from it. So it's the same with that information, that psychic information, that psychic dream. It's like it can give you information, and depending on the decisions that you make, or if it involves another person they make, it can change the outcome and the path. So I had one dream in probably 2000 and I guess it might have been 2010, that I had a child with a man. At first I thought it was the man I just ended a relationship with. We broke up, but then I saw who it was and I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't say anything. You can't say those things to people, or maybe you can depending on what society you're a part of, but not in mine, you could not. So we went about our lives, and he made decisions and I made decisions, and it was pretty obvious that that was not going to be possible for a scenario. So I let it go because I'm an adult and because I had enough experience with how this works. It didn't make me think you can't do that because I had this dream. It's like that's the path, breaking and changing. So then I actually had a relationship with someone and I had visions of us and our children. But then we broke up. He went back to his ex. So we broke up. And I was like, well, that can't be the path, So then you recalibrate. It's if you get too attached to premonition dreams and visions and them having to be the truth, then you can lose what you're supposed to have, because God is beyond space and time, or Allah, or the Great Spirit. So just because it's not like those timelines, that person, that was the only one for you on this earth. It's like if that person doesn't reciprocate, they're not yours, regardless of what could have been on a different path. I always look at it as that first dream could have been if things were different, if they had been different. And then the second vision was like, if things had been different, if he hadn't gone back to his ex, that would have been our life together. And now it's recalibrating to what I have yet to meet, who I have yet to meet, what I have yet to know, who is going to come into my life. But most beneficial is knowing how to be alone, knowing thyself, and having the self-love and self-worth and taking care of yourself. I've been alone a lot of my life. I know how to care for myself. I know what I need. Finances have been complicated for me because I have a spinal cord injury now, and I couldn't exactly go back to work the way that I always did because I was hit in the spine with a chair. That also obviously causes some trust issues when it comes to love. But I have no doubt that beyond space and time, Allah, God, Great Spirit, will say, oh, well, I better make her a partner that's going to be perfect for her now. And then beyond space and time, they will create that partner. And eventually when we meet, everything will make sense and it will be the way that it needs to be. So it's recalibrating. like a compass, until it's real and reciprocal. And that allows you to not be stuck on your emotions or stuck on, a person or stuck on an individual. It doesn't mean that you don't feel your feelings, because then that's not healthy for you. It means you take time to feel your feelings. Do what you need to. Eat the cake, eat the ice cream, go for a run, cry, watch sad movies, be reminded of them. Sometimes I'll call energies like that demons. Like they must be like love demons that are trying to distract me from my path and my conscious. If you feel someone in your energy field a lot and they don't care about you, I'm like, well, they must be a demon. So I just will say things like back demon or whatever it may be. You can use whatever kind of terms you need to make sense of it for yourself, but the whole thing is to recalibrate until it's real, because people can do manipulative magic on you. Just because your values and morals are one way doesn't mean others will abide by them. I've had people do manipulative magic on me before, and of course the consequences for their life were really bad when I started to take my power back, and delegate things to God. It's actually what God called me a witch regularly. But a witch doesn't delegate things to God. Or maybe they do. There are many names, I guess. Many names for, I guess, what I am or who I am or what my spirit is. And it doesn't matter to me what people call me. It just matters that they leave me alone if they have bad intentions. That's all.